Namaste, everyone. Today is session 18 of our good living practices. Cannot believe that we have completed so many sessions thanks to Ram's contribution. As you all know, it is from his best-selling book, Good Living Practices, that we take different topics and we are focusing on, digging deeper and focusing on how to bring those practices into our lives. So today's session is about meditation. As I was mentioning to Ram at the beginning when we were chatting, it is something that that is quite close to my heart, mainly because it is something we all know is a very good tool. But it is a very hard thing to practice, to put into practice. And I'm looking forward to actually having a discussion and listening to Ram about it. So just to let you know, just about what you can expect with this session is, if there is one procedure, tool, or technique whose benefits encompass the emotional, mental, and physical states, it is meditation or mental stillness. And so we will be discussing the power of mental stillness, meditation, and how this affects our physical, mental, and emotional states. So Ram will be covering the following aspects: defining mental stillness and meditation, the benefits of this practice, types of meditation, and tools to achieve mental stillness and meditation. So without further ado, Ram, the stage is yours. Looking forward to being, a good student on this, and hopefully to practice and instill it in our lives.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Radhika. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody on the Pacific time zone. Good morning. Actually, good afternoon to all the others in the other time zones. Welcome, as Radhika mentioned, welcome to the 18th session of Good Living Practices. And as you're aware by now, good living practices are tools or interventions that keep the body, the mind, and the emotions functioning as one unit. And this is required for us to experience optimal health and wellness. All right. So let me recapitulate what we discussed so far, and then we'll focus on today's topic. So let me start sharing the slides here. So in the past 16 sessions, all right, we discussed several aspects of good living practices, including good eating practices, good physical practices, good mental practices, and good emotional practices. And in the last two sessions, 16th and 17th, I provided 3 tips for all of us to incorporate and practice for about 30 days, for about a month. And in the month of March, based on what we had discussed for the last 1 year or so, I provided 3 tools or 3 tips on chewing, sleep, and contentment. All right. And I asked that we all incorporate that and use that for our own optimal health and wellness. Last month, the 17th session, I provided 3 additional tools, and we talked about the 3 tools at the level of the physical, mental, and emotional status as well. And the idea was that when we provide these tips, the idea was that we inculcate them into our own lives, okay, as a group. And so the 3 tools were, at the physical level, I asked about maintaining the sleep timings between dinner and sleep. That would be 3 hours minimum. Okay, so keeping a gap of 3 hours minimum between dinner and bedtime. All right. And then the outcome measure was how you feel at the level of your body and at the level of your mind. Okay, because a lot of people complain in the next morning when they wake up, they say, we feel mental blockage or mental fog, or we feel tired. And one of the reasons, I'm not saying it is the only reason, but one of the reasons could be keeping a very short gap between dinner and sleep. So I said, let's maintain a 3-hour gap, 3 to 4 hours gap. All right, minimum 3-hour gap. And then at the level of the mind, I said, we'll maintain a 12-hour fasting period, which means that if you had dinner by 6:30 or 7 in the evening, then you would have to break your fast the next day morning after 7. or after 7:30 or after 8. So thereby you're giving a window of 12 hours or more. Okay, and this fasting period of 12 hours is highly beneficial at the level of mind, body, and emotions, and to build overall immunity. And I said the outcome measure for that, I said, is on a scale of 1 to 10, measure how you feel in terms of dull being level 1 or scale 1, and optimism being at the level of 10. Somewhere in that range, how you feel, okay? And then at the level of emotions, I said, let's practice gratitude, okay? And then I said, one way to do that, the outcome measure would be, again, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being miserable and 10 being always smiling. Where were you for the last 30 days in terms of gratitude? Okay, so the thing is, we have some few people here in the audience, about 10 of us. So before I discuss about today's topic, okay, I would like for anybody in this group to come forward, to unmute yourself, to come forward and discuss about their own personal experience about last month's 3 tools. Okay, we would like to hear about your own journey, okay, with regard to dinner and sleep, with regard to 12-hour fast, and with regard to how you express gratitude. Okay, and I would welcome you to discuss about both the merits and demerits. Was there any obstacle in your path? Did you feel that you were able to do that for all 30 days, or were there any roadblocks? So based on your own experience, it will help the group as well. Okay, so anyone who is interested in sharing their experience, you please come forward and let us know your story, and then we'll talk about today's topic. So anybody who wants to discuss about the last 3 tools that we talked about last month? Anybody would like to discuss?
This is a joint session, so we would really like for you to share your experiences of how you have benefited, or if something needs a little bit more tweaking. So we would really appreciate if you can share your experiences. Well, I can go ahead and tell you, Ram, as far as the practicing 3 hours, this thing, I was religiously practicing that. And if not 3 hours, at least 2.5 hours. Like I usually go to bed around 10:30 or so, and getting up at getting up at 6:30. So I was practicing the 8-hour sleep, and for the most part, it worked because I had a very good sleep. And so by 7:30, maximum 8, I would finish my dinner, and I was conscious of what I was eating, especially with more of the vegetables and less of carbs, and that kept me actually feeling satisfied and feeling full. So it helped me so that I was not hungry. I will say that there was 2 occasions where I slipped a little bit, because Sitaraman, my husband, was having some ice cream, and I felt like having 1 spoon of ice cream. So that was the slip that I had, but I felt that I deserved it because I was okay the rest of the 28 days. So so that has been my experience. And we are looking forward actually to all of you also sharing what your experiences were, because that is how we can move forward as a group.
Right.
I hope that you will do it. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Radhika. That's very helpful. And slip is always, after all, we are humans, and so there's always a slip. It's not a big deal. We don't need to be judging about that. We don't need to worry about it. We don't need to feel guilty about it. It happens all the time. The question is, as long as you're aware of it, and then come back and
Yes.
once again incorporate back whatever you were doing, that is fine. So I so very much appreciate what you have talked about. And to the other people who do not, if you don't wish to discuss it now, that's fine, no problems. What
Yes.
I'll do is we'll go ahead with today's topic, and then at the end of the topic, at the end of today's session, if you want to unmute yourself and talk about your experiences, we'll welcome that as well.
Yes.
All right. So let's move on. So today's topic is something that is very dear to me. It's about the power of mental stillness. All right. And there are many words to describe mental stillness. If you look at yoga philosophy by Patanjali, okay, in that he talks about the Ashtanga yoga philosophy. All right. The Ashtanga yoga is the 8-limb philosophy. Of the 8 limbs, if you look at the 6th and the 7th limb, okay, this is, you can call it the 6th and 7th anga according to him, the Shad and the Sapta anga of the 8 anga philosophy. It's dharana and dhyana. Those are the 2 ones. Okay, so dharana actually means focus, and then dhyana means stillness, mindfulness, introspection, meditation, contemplation. I mean, we can go on and on about the number of synonyms for it, but everything means the same. It all means the same. What it means is that at the level of the mind, you still it, you become calm, you let go of all the emotions, let go of all the thoughts, you quieten the mind and quieten the emotions. Okay, and so this is, and there is a power behind it. There's a lot of benefits from it. Okay, Patanjali in the yoga philosophy talked about it for another level of benefit. He was talking about mainly for achieving what we call oneness with your true self. But we can experience that oneness within our own setting, within our own environment, within our own job, within our own domain here. Okay, that may not be a oneness with the trueness, or oneness with the highest level, but oneness within our own selves, and that is feeling optimal at the level of health, at the level of wellness. Okay, and for today's topic, I'll switch between the words stillness and meditation. I like to simplify the entire concept, okay, of meditation or mental stillness by telling you in 3 simple terms: focus, attention, and awareness. Let me repeat that again: focus, attention, and awareness. These are the 3 components that you should bring to in whatever you do. Whatever you do, whether you're playing a game, whether you're cooking, whether you're eating, whether you're doing your work, whether you're at your computer, whatever you do, if you bring in focus, attention, and awareness, that is mental stillness, that is meditation. Which means that all of us have experienced this meditative state sometime or the other without knowing that it is actually meditation. Like, let's say you are busy preparing for your exam and you were glued to the books, you were glued to your to all the various concepts that you were studying for. You were so sort of deep into that preparation that you are not aware about the sounds outside, you are not aware about the disturbances from elsewhere. Or let's take the example of preparing for a job interview. Okay, in all these cases, notice your focus, your attention, and your awareness is so much on that task. Especially, let's say, even for the example that I gave you about exam, if you're deeply involved in that, even if somebody opens your door or to the study room, you're not aware about it. And when they slightly gently put their hand, you will shake up. Why is that? That response is only because your focus, attention, and awareness was on that preparation. In all these cases, we were glued to this task. Even something as simple as intently watching a glass of milk in the microwave so that it doesn't boil over. Okay, your entire focus is on that. Your attention is on that. Your awareness is on the glass of milk. It should not boil over. Okay, that again is a meditative action. So in yoga language, mentioned by Patanjali, when you bring that focus, attention, and awareness on your breath, okay, so you're not doing any other task. You are focusing your attention and your awareness on your breath. That becomes dhyana or meditation or mental stillness in the yoga language. Okay, the difference is in this case, we have all three entities focused on our breath. Whatever may be, whatever be the thing, it may sound like an effortless state, but it requires a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of effort to access it. All right. Now, scientists have used state-of-the-art imaging techniques, okay, to confirm or to observe the effects of meditation or mental stillness on brain structure and function. And guess what? Now, we now know from evidence-based studies that meditation has a number. I mean, it's the number of benefits is amazing. It reduces at the level of emotions, it reduces fear, worry, anxiety, anger, rage, judgment. At the level of mind, it increases cognitive function. So in our workplace, where I work in Apollo Health, where people come with memory loss, we tell them to cultivate a practice of meditation because we know it improves cognitive function and memory. At the level of mind, it improves sleep and mental clarity. Both at the level of mind and body, it reduces pain and inflammation. It lowers blood pressure. So it actually works its wonders on the heart. It brings down post-traumatic stress syndrome, PTSD. People who recover from the war, people who come from the battle zones, they're all told these days, whether it is in this country or whether it is any other part of the world, they are all told to meditate so that they can overcome all the problems that is associated with the war. And the level of all three states of individuality, mind, body, and emotions, it slows down cellular aging. And that's one of the reasons why, if you see all the monks, whether it's Dalai Lama, whether it's Amachi, whether it's Sri Ravi Shankar, whether it's Sadhguru, and many other people, if you notice all these people, even though they are in their 70s, 80s, or 90s, they actually appear to be in their 30s. And why is that? Because these people have constant meditation practices. They are always meditating. And we now know from evidence-based studies that meditation actually slows down the entire aspect of cellular aging, which happens within the body. All right. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, for those who are suffering from memory impairment, meditation reverses hippocampal memory loss. And in one of our sessions, we talked about neuroplasticity, the aspect where the neurons put out branches, which is very good for mental resilience and strength. Meditation promotes neuronal branching. That is, it promotes neuroplasticity. If you go back to GLP 4, session 4, I talked about this aspect, about neuroplasticity. So people who have a long-term meditation practice, people have observed by brain MRI scanning methods that these long-term meditators have well-preserved brains. Their brains have got thickly neuronal branches compared to people who are always constantly stressed and who do not have a practice of meditation. In addition, meditation improves cerebral blood flow, which is very much required, especially as we age. We need to have good blood flow into the brain. Okay, this is what is required for brain strength and good brain structure and function. Now, according to yoga philosophy, several aspects of one's individuality emerges during meditation, including more awareness, more attention, more sustained concentration. So what happens is, as you let the flood of emotions, as you let it go, you become more aware and you become more attentive for a sustained period. And what happens is, as you constantly practice meditation, your mind is more clear, there's more clarity, you're more aware. Okay, and in addition to all that, look at the benefits it produces at the level of individuality. You lose your self of consciousness. So this is what happens. People who meditate a lot, for them, time is not an impediment. And that's the reason why they have better time management skills, especially people who are meditating a lot. Look at our past governor, Mr. Brown. He used to have, in his governor's office, he used to have a mat next to his office table. And between his meetings, he used to sit and he used to meditate. And he says that his reasoning for proper governorship of the state of California was probably because of his meditative skills. What happens is now people who are constantly meditating, they become totally unaware of their physical needs and mental cravings. Ask any person who has a long-term meditation practice, and they are not bound by materialism. They are not bound by physical aspects. They don't have mental cravings. Why? Because every act that they do, it's an intrinsic reward. They feel that intrinsically rewarding feeling happens because of that constant meditation practice. And that's the reason why they're not easily perturbed. Try to shake them physically, mentally. No, they are very strong, stable physically, and they're very strong mentally as well. And they have a clarity for every situation. That's the reason why these are what we call to-go people for all our questions. And they have immediate answers. Why is that? Because meditation has brought them the clarity. It's got them thinking. It's got them the clarity, the awareness, the agility. And finally, emotions don't perturb them. They experience a very neutral emotional state. They are not easily perturbed at the level of emotions. Now, you may ask, how exactly should we meditate? Okay, now classical yoga texts or Ayurvedic texts describe one kind of meditation which we call the yogic meditation, also known as the Zen meditation. Okay, where you focus attention awareness on your breath. This is the basic premise of meditation. Okay, which is stilling the mind, relaxing the body, and having your focus, attention, and awareness on your breath. But even though a lot of teachers, a lot of books, a lot of other literature declare that their style of meditation is very powerful and correct, and they'll always dismiss other forms of meditation as incorrect or unsafe, my suggestion, my personal experience and my suggestion is try all the different types of meditation. I'll tell you what those different types of meditation are. Notice what resonates with you. Notice what brings you that calmness, what brings you that peace. Remember, as long as your focus, attention, awareness is on that task, any type of meditation is correct. Okay, if you have focus, attention, awareness, meditation, any kind of meditation is not incorrect, it's correct. So remember, no single style, no subspeciality, or there is nothing particularly better or right or wrong. Okay, any kind of meditation where you have your focus, attention, awareness is good. It meets your needs, and as long as it aligns with your nature and as long as it aligns with your practices, feel free to use that. In fact, my suggestion would be try the different types of meditation for about a week or so and see which one is good for you and use that for your long-term practice. Now, if you're a novice, which means if you haven't had a practice of meditation for better times, okay, maybe you had it maybe one session or so, but not like continuous practice. My suggestion is that you meditate for 2 to 3 minutes daily, maybe once in the morning. If you can relax and sit still and bring your focus, attention, awareness on your breath or maybe on a given task, okay, that in itself is a good step to climb into that path of meditation. As you become more comfortable with 2 to 3 minutes, slightly improve your timings later on. Remember one thing, if too many dramas play in your mind, okay, if there are a lot of dramas, there are a lot of actions, just relax, don't get judgmental. Simply acknowledge them and try to steer them away. Try to let them go. Because remember one thing, that in itself, being aware of the dramas and trying to let them go in itself is meditation. Okay. And then you can come back to if you're using breath as a practice, you can come back to your breath. So each time your mind wanders, you come back to your breath. Each time it wanders, you come back to your breath. That in itself, my friends, is a good meditative practice. And once you sustain your daily practice of meditation, that's when you can increase your time. So please don't start off by saying, I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes. Okay, even though I have a daily practice of meditation, I cannot sit still for 30 minutes. The maximum I can go is for 15 minutes. So if you tell me that you don't have a practice, but you were able to meditate for 30 minutes, I won't believe you, because it's not possible. Okay, the chattering of the mind happens. It's the nature of the mind. So my suggestion is meditate, keep still for about 2 to 3 minutes, slowly build your practice. Okay. So remember one thing, meditation is like learning any task. Any new task that you learn, you have to put in a lot of effort. You have to put in a lot of practice. Meditation is similarly the same way. You have to put in your practice. You have to put in your daily dose of meditation. Okay. The more you put your practice, the more you're better achieved in that skill. Okay. The more impact it will have on your health and well-being. So what are the different types? The first one we talk about is mindfulness. Mindfulness is where you are not focusing on your breath, but you're being mindful of at that moment. So as you meditate, you keep, if you're encouraging your thoughts, you pay attention to thoughts and let it go. Again, the thoughts will come, let it go. Again, the thoughts come, let it go. So you are keeping yourself in the present, okay, but you're not dwelling on the past, you're not dwelling on the future. In this state, your body, mind, and emotions are using one entity, and that could be your thoughts. Okay, so even though it's not your breath, you still feel intrinsically rewarded. The reason why mindfulness meditation is very attractive is because you are paying attention to whatever that thought process is. And evidence-based studies, all the research that is happening in meditation uses mindfulness meditation. And guess what? All of us are in that state in some way or the other. Think about all the great artists, whether it is Pablo Picasso or Leonardo da Vinci or Beethoven or Bach or all those Carnatic musicians that you know about. Okay, all the artists you know about, the sculptures, you know, there are Hindu temples coming up in all the Bay Areas. Look at those artisans who are skillfully drawing all those beautiful art. They're all doing mindfulness meditation, because unless only if they are in that state, they can achieve that task perfectly. So we call them being in a flow or being in the zone. Being in the flow or being in the zone is nothing but paying attention, awareness, and focus on that task. And that's the reason why they were able to achieve the best outcome of whatever they were doing. So, but you know, this type of meditation is not reserved for only artists or musicians or sports people or anything like that. It can happen for anybody. We can all do it. Okay, so in all our cases, you practice mindfulness. Okay, so think about whatever task you're doing and focus on that. And as I said, a lot of evidence-based studies uses this type of meditation because it is easily achieved. Okay. And then we have the next one called transcendental meditation. Transcendental meditation was actually put forward by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi back in the early 1900s. Okay, it's a silent form of mantra meditation. So in this technique, what's happening is you are focused. Your attention and awareness is on a mantra that is being played in the surroundings. So let's say your eyes are closed, okay, and you're paying attention to a mantra being recited, either a tape recorder or on YouTube or whatever it is. Okay, you are no longer disturbed. Your focus, attention, awareness is on that mantra. Okay, that, my friends, is transcendental meditation. So there, what's happening is you're allowing the sounds of the mantra to coincide with the sounds of your breathing, and you're focusing your attention. Your focus, attention, awareness is on the mantra being played. Great way to achieve meditation. Great way to achieve stillness. The next one is body scanning. In body scanning, what's happening is you are keeping your eyes open. So in most of the cases, eyes are closed, but in body scanning, you're actually keeping your eyes open, because now what's happening is in this meditation practice, your eyes look inward. You're drawing your vision inwards, okay? And you're scanning your body either from top to bottom, from head to toe, or from toe to head. Okay, so you are sitting still, okay? And what you're doing is you're keeping your eyes open and you're looking inward. So your attention, your focus and awareness is inside your body. You're looking at as though you can see the body from inside. Okay. And because of that, what happens is you can actually scan any part of your body where you're experiencing some kind of a ache or a tension or a stiffness or a numbness or whatever, or a pain, and you can overcome it by relaxing that specific area. Okay, and a lot of people have been able to overcome the pain sensation through body scanning. And then we have passage meditation. Passage meditation was actually developed by Eknath Eshwaran when he was at the UC Berkeley, Okay, basically what happens in passive meditation is you take a book, whatever be the book, okay, and then it could be a scriptural passage, it could be some kind of a novel, it could be a poem, whatever it is. Your focus, attention, awareness is on a passage. It could be a poem, it could be some lyrics, it could be a one-page essay, whatever it is. Your focus, attention, awareness is on that, and you're trying to memorize that. Okay, so you keep repeating that passage verbally until it becomes a part of your breath. Okay, passage meditation is again very famous. A lot of people in the Bay Area, especially in the area where they have their Eknath Eshwaran's ashram is located in Bodega Bay. A lot of people practice passage meditation, and it works for a lot of people. And then you have twin heart meditation. Twin heart meditation is mainly done by pranic healers, people who practice pranic healing. Twin heart meditation allows the practitioners, okay, the people who are practitioners and the healers, okay, to amplify their inner energy, not only for their own healing, okay, but they're able to tap into that energy and direct them to any person who wants to receive that energy. Okay, so they're able to direct that energy so that they can heal the receiver. So twin hearts is very powerful. Okay, once again, it's very powerful only because it comes with practice. Okay, so you're not only trying to direct your energy for your own healing, but you're also directing the energy towards healing other people, which requires you to have that intent practice. Okay, focus, attention, awareness. And then, of course, we have the last one, which is the yogic meditation. The yogic meditation, as I discussed earlier, is nothing but focus, attention, awareness is on your breath. Okay, the Buddhists call it Zen state. So each time you sit down to relax, okay, you become aware of your breath, you bring your attention to your breath, and now you start focusing on the breath. Now, in all these cases, in all these types of meditation, you are trying to unite the body, mind, and emotions. So which means you are bringing in that state of equanimity, or you are bringing all three aspects of individuality as a oneness. And that's the goal of good living practice. Okay, so the final goal of meditation or mental stillness is to feel at ease, relaxed, to be at peace with yourself and your surroundings. Okay, so as long as you have that focus, attention, and awareness, you'll be very efficient in whatever you do. Okay, you'll be very efficacious in whatever you do, and you will have the rewards of that, whatever task you do. So whether it's an exam, whether it is an interview, whether it's a surgical procedure, or whether it's a musical performance, or whether you are involved in some kind of a art or a craft, all tasks can be performed at a consistently high level with very good results only when you have your focus, attention, awareness. That is when you have your meditative practice on that task. So once again, if you have not meditated before, I personally would request you to engage in 2 to 3 minutes daily, at least 3 times a day. And then try to begin it in the morning, early morning. So if you take my example, I begin my practice in the morning so that my morning starts becoming more positive. And then a quick meditation around noon time after my lunch helps me to maintain that peace and calmness so I can continue my work at an uninterrupted pace. And then the evening meditation allows me to settle down after a hard day's work. So whether you do at your home or whether you do at your work, please approach any activity in a meditative state, because this will help you. It will help you to achieve oneness on that task, and your task will be rewarding at the end. So when it comes to good living practices, okay, you don't have to shave your head, you don't have to wear orange robes, you don't have to burn the incense stick, you don't have to sit in a corner. Meditation can be approached through any task that you do. In fact, all the good living practices we discussed so far, we had 16 sessions. All those good living practices can be practiced in the form of a meditation. So let's say you're eating. Okay, where is your focus, attention, awareness? Can you bring it to that point of eating? Can you bring it to the food? Okay, so which means now you can, if your attention, focus, and awareness is on your food, now let's imagine now, okay, you're combining other aspects of meditation. So let's say you bring in a mantra meditation. How do you bring a mantra meditation on your food? Well, you know, our Vedas have a very powerful way of blessing and thanking all the people or all the elements that were involved in bringing the food to our plate. The phrase we use is Annadhata Sukhi Bhava. So remember now, if your focus, attention, awareness is on your food, you can bring in mantra meditation as well. You can bless the food and you can bless all the elements, the entities who are responsible for the food. You can say Annadhata Sukhi Bhava. Look at the food, look at all the colors, feel the smell, feel the aroma, say Annadhata Sukhi Bhava, either mind or orally, verbally. And notice your own composure. Your mind is now perfectly clear. You're more at peace. Okay, because you're combining all the aspects of meditation. Now you're ready to eat. All right, very powerful. Same thing. Can you do that when you're cooking your food? Who is cooking the food? Okay, bring your attention, focus, or awareness. Remember, when you're cooking your food, it's not just for your own self. You're going to feed that food to other people. So your energy is going into other people's energy as well to sustain their energy. So you don't want to spoil that. All right. So bring that focus, attention, awareness is on while you're cooking the food. When you're doing all the things for your 5 sensory organs, remember we talked about the 5 senses, the gateways to bring in harmonious impressions. The only way you can bring harmony through the 5 senses is to make sure that your attention, awareness, and focus is on the impression that you're bringing into the 5 sensory organs. Okay, so that's another good living practice coupled with meditation. Sleep. Before you go to sleep, you can have a nice Shanti mantra before you go to sleep. So now your mind is settled down, your mind is more calm. Okay, just calm yourself down. And then that way, what happens is you improve your sleep. And guess what? Evidence-based research studies now show that the best way to achieve undisturbed, good quality sleep is only through meditation. We tell all our patients to observe a 5-minute meditation practice before they go to sleep because it promotes sleep. All the brain strengthening and brain training exercises requires for you to have focus, attention, awareness, which means that you have to meditate on that training exercise as well. Good living practice 16 session 12 or 13, I focused on chewing. Chewing requires for you to chew on your food, which means you have to count on your food. I said 25 to 30 counts, which means now your focus, attention, awareness is on chewing. So see how you're bringing meditation to your act of chewing. So meditation now becomes an integral part of your life, right? The beneficial transformation that comes with it, okay, there is benefit that will definitely come with it. And that itself is a testimony to the power of mental stillness or meditation. So with that, I'll encourage all of you to have a daily practice of meditation. Bring in the meditative aspect in whatever you do, okay? So, and notice what benefits it brings to your own self. All right? So with that, let me stop here and let me take your queries.
Thank you so much, Ram. You know, what you have said is so beneficial. We have heard of all these things in different ways. Whenever we are stressed or something, what does someone say? Take a step back. It is, and that refocus, prioritize.
Right.
All these things are stuff that you have heard. Be in the present. All these are things that, that is actually the way you have said. And I'm trying a mnemonic to remember it. I'm thinking FAA, focus, awareness, and attention.
Right.
So, and that it just, that is basically that whatever you do, if you are focusing on that particular task, that itself is like a meditation. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yes. So as long as the focus, because what happens is the minute you have your focus, attention, awareness on that task, there are no more thoughts, no more dramas, no more dramas are being played. And now because you have your focus, what happens is you are going to be deeply involved in that task. So all this is nothing but stillness, because your mind is not only on that act. So if it is a physical act, then yes, it is meditative act or meditative action. If it's a breath, then it's a meditative breath, you call it yoga. So that's the only difference. But otherwise, this is all meditation itself, because there's no dramas being played, there's no emotional turbulence, there's no emotional disturbances, nothing of that sort is playing around. So yeah, so all those three entities are very much required, whatever you do. And then if you have that, then whatever you're doing, that in itself is a meditative act.
And is pranayama the same as meditation, or is it different?
It's different. Pranayama is different. Pranayama is about breath practice, which I'm talking about that next month. Next month session we'll talk about, because somebody similarly had raised the same question. What is pranayama? Is all about breath practices. Okay. And again, I'm glad you brought this question. Pranayama practices has its own benefits. Okay, and a lot of evidence-based studies support that. Diaphragmatic breathing, it's called diaphragmatic breathing. That breathing has its effects, has its profound beneficial effects only when you do it meditatively. So once again, meditation comes in that. So you cannot keep doing pranayama and then talk to somebody else or talk on the phone or work on the computer. No, meditation, it's a meditative act again in itself. It's a different kind of a task, but it's a meditative act by itself.
So I mean, like this is what it brings to my mind. It's like your mind is like, if you're stirring up like so it's like that, and then you just stop, and it comes to a balance. And so that is the practice you're doing in to your, because your psyche, your brain it plays a lot of this thing, and so it's kind of like managing your stress.
Correct.
Managing, and that is basically what you're talking about as far as meditation is concerned.
Right.
So that is what I am understanding out of this.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely. Whenever you need clarity, whenever you need an answer, let's say you're in a dilemma, you're in a situation where you do not have the right answer. At that time, what happens is usually such situations, you get stressed out. And so when you get stressed out, you will not have the answers.
Right.
So the best practice is to observe 2 to 3 minutes of silence, okay, where you focus on your breath. And then what? Your mind becomes more clear. You will definitely have the answer. This has not only happened to me, it has happened to so many other people. And people have recorded those experiences. So the best way to get an answer is to make sure that you meditate so that you will have the answer. Whatever it is, however complex the situation may be, you will definitely get the answer.
Yes.
But of course, you need to have that focus, attention, and awareness on your breath.
Yes. And that's basically in one of the things that sometimes I think of a story is with somebody told someone to sit down quietly and not think about the monkey.
Yes.
Not think about the monkey. Yes. And so that person sat down and all he could think about was the monkey. So it happens. So but basically what you are trying to say is just let everything go and just bring your mind to this thing, and that itself, whichever practice you have, you bring your mind to a stillness, so that you have the clarity.
Right. And that the example that you gave, Radhika, is amazing, because in mindfulness, that's what happens. In mindfulness, they are encouraging you. They are saying, don't worry if your mind is running away.
Yes.
But be aware of it and bring it back.
Correct.
Only when you get lost and when you form multiple stories and you're not even aware about it, okay, and then you realize that 30 minutes have passed and you're not been able to achieve your task, that is not meditation. But each time your mind wanders, if the monkey mind, if you are aware of it, you bring it back and you say, oh, there I lost her again. And you come back. Again, you lose it. Again, you come back. That itself is mindfulness. And that is so powerful. Now, you're not focusing on your breath, but you're just being aware of your mental status. But that in itself is so powerful that people have seen amazing benefits even from that, especially for people with cancer. This mindfulness has become a very powerful tool. Doctors, oncologists tell all the cancer patients to do mindfulness, because they say that in itself is a great cure It reverses a lot of the, the pain, the chronic pain, the effects of the radiation, the effects of the chemotherapy and all that. So cancer patients have done miraculously well with meditation, and they're not doing yogic meditation. They're not doing the breath practice. They're just whatever they're doing, they're being aware of that. They're focusing it, and they're saying, okay, let me just keep my mind still.
Correct. I mean, based on what you are saying, this has been my practice, where, as far as, when I sit down to work, I sit down at 7:30 or something, just about 5 minutes or something. I just go over what all I need to do, and then, prioritize. And that becomes a sort of like a meditation, helps me to focus instead of, there are a million things, but I can only do so much. And so I just focus on those things. And that I like to practice that, which helps me to prioritize on my work, and, and then deal with it, and then knock off things that are, they call it knock off the low hanging fruit or whatever it is, and then focus. The same way at night, before going to bed, I like to read, and I like to kind of think about something before I go off to sleep, unless as I'm reading, I'm falling asleep or something. But I like to think of something pleasant, and that helps me to still my mind, and helps me to get a very good sleep. So when you're talking about mindfulness, I was thinking, okay, basically that I don't need to actually set aside or to get stressed that I'm not doing meditation, because these are all different kinds of meditation, like you said.
Absolutely.
Focusing on what you're doing.
Absolutely. Yes. And your experience, Radhika, is a combination of both mindfulness and passage meditation. If you're reading a book before going to bed, that is passage meditation.
Correct.
Eknath Easwaran talked so much about passage meditation, and
yes,
a lot of benefits happening. That's the reason why he promoted that aspect of meditation. So yes, any kind is beneficial. And then what my suggestion is, from there on, now that you have the practice and you've consistently kept that practice, now what happens is it becomes much easier now for you to now start focusing on your breath, because otherwise it becomes very difficult to focus on your breath and then be still. So these stepwise progress helps you to now achieve the highest form of meditation, which is yogic meditation, where you are only focusing on your breath.
Correct. So yes, opening up the panel to the questions. Anybody else has any question?
Yeah, I have questions. I'd like to share first what my experience with solo fasting, as well as giving 3 hours gap before sleep. So it's really helpful, because even if you're giving 3 hours gap, after 3 hours you feel you are not full, and you can get sleep immediately. So that's a kind of my experience of keeping this solo gap, as well as keeping 3 hours before bedtime.
Very good.
And also doing exercise before breaking the fast also.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sriram. Those benefits are so powerful. And again, yoga philosophy talked about it, Ayurveda talked about it, and now we have evidence-based studies. There is a reason why it was mentioned in the past in all our Vedic textbooks, and there is a reason why evidence-based research studies are now promoting those aspects. And as you rightly said, if you keep a 3-hour gap, my friends, it really helps with the digestive system, number one. And as Sriram mentioned, it helps with, if you keep a 3-hour gap between dinner and sleep, you will definitely feel light. It won't feel as if you've eaten a food. And the minute you feel light, what happens is now the sleep becomes more easily accessible, because melatonin, the hormone that is responsible for sleep, comes up in 2 ways. Number one, when there is night, when there's less light, okay, and number 2, when the body has got less amount of digestive system going on, digestive juices going on, because the minute you have digestive juices, melatonin doesn't get released. So melatonin gets released only when the digestive tract is empty of the food and when there's low or very dim light. So that's the reason why we say 3-hour gap, because 3-hour gap, by the time you go to sleep, if you have maintained a 3-hour gap, the food is already in the intestine. It's no longer in the stomach, which means the digestive system is no longer acting, which means melatonin levels are slowly rising. Okay, and now couple that with dimming the light and all that, my friends, you're ready to sleep. And then the second aspect of what Shriya mentioned, fasting. So let's say you're 12-hour fast, right? If you're a 12-hour fast and the next day morning, you'll feel much better in terms of your mind, in terms of your emotions, in terms of your body. Not only that, before you break your fast, if you practice, if you have even a 15-minute physical exercise, it could be especially now with the climate becoming more, more temperate and you're able to manage it, you can go out for a walk, small little walk around the neighborhood, or you can even practice some physical exercise in the room itself, in your home, or some yoga stretching exercises, anything that requires 15-20 minutes, not more than that. And then if you break your fast by taking whatever, cup of coffee or cereal, you'll feel much better. So yeah, it's very, very powerful. And I'm glad you experienced the same things. Thank you so much.
Yeah, regarding meditation, so what I understood is focus, attention, and awareness. That means we had to keep our thoughts in the present. So when your thoughts in the present, meaning, for example, if you are cooking, you will be concentrating on the steps of the cooking, the recipe you are using, or the way you are cooking in the step. That is what is keeping our thoughts in the present.
Right.
So,
that's right.
So that is also kind of meditation.
It is. And that's the reason why I said all these actions become meditative, because what happens is you're not encouraging, there is no dramas being played. There are no stories being formed. Your entire focus, attention, awareness is on that process. Okay. Whether it is keeping a cup of coffee in the microwave, or whether it is, putting the masala in the oil, or whether it is boiling the rice, or whatever it is, you know what you're doing. A lot of people, whether it's cooking or eating, what happens is you are combining the task with other things. You're either watching the TV, or you're looking at the phone, or you're answering some calls or something. So then what happens is your thought process is not, it's all mixed up with other activities, and that's not meditation. And then what happens is there is always a chance of that food not turning out good. Okay, that's the reason why traditionally we always, our forefathers always mentioned that pay attention to what you're doing, because then you know which step has to come after what steps have to be followed and what comes after the next step. Otherwise, if your mind is filled with other thoughts and other stories, then you do not know what steps, which are the steps. Did I forget to put the salt, or did I put excess salt, or did I forget to put sugar? See, those things, those questions come up. Why those questions come up? Only because your attention was not on that food. And that's the reason why then you have to taste to see whether there was enough salt or not. Okay, you don't need to do that, because if you knew all the stepwise process, then you wouldn't have forgotten to add the salt or the sugar. I'm just giving a small example, but I guess you got that gist of it. Thank you.
Hey, Ram, it's Renu.
Hi, Renu.
Hi, just relating to the stillness of the mind, I have a very small, short story, and I think I kind of remember it a little bit clearly. There was a farmer, and he had lost a very precious watch. And I'm not sure if you have heard of this, or anyone on the team has heard of this. And he hires all these people, and because the watch was so special for him, and he says, whoever finds this precious watch for me, I'll give them some reward. But there's a deadline. He gives everybody a deadline. And then it's almost evening time. Everybody has reached there. Nobody can find the watch in the farm. So there's suddenly one guy comes and he goes, give me a few more minutes. He goes, well, the time's almost up. He goes, no, I'm sure I'll be able to find your watch. So he says, okay, I'll just give him a few minutes. So the guy disappears, and a few minutes later, he comes back and he has the watch in his hand. So the farmer says, how come? How were you able to find it? He goes, it was very simple. I sat in the middle of the farm. I calmed my mind down and I paid attention. And all of a sudden, I could hear the tick, tick, tick of the clock, the watch. And he just went there and picked it up and got it for him. So the stillness of the mind, and like you said, focus, awareness, and attention does help. So I thought that story was perfectly related to what you're discussing today.
Beautiful, Renu. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes, I've heard similar stories, not the kind that you said, but yeah, modification of such stories. And a lot of people, and there is a lot of truth in that. A lot of people are able to heal. They provide distance healing only through a focused meditative action. Okay, where does that come from? Because what happens is when they are able to still their mind, and when their focus, attention, and awareness is on the other person, on the receiver, okay, they are able to tap. Because remember, at the end of it, all of us are nothing but a body of energy, and then there is always a channeling of energy happening. It's only that, there's a flow of energy happening. It's only that we are not channeling it, okay, because our minds are all constantly in flux. But we can challenge that, or we can channelize that energy to a specific person or an animal or a plant or anything, whoever is the receiver at the other end. We can channel that energy only from focus, attention, and awareness. And when that happens, the receiver gets the benefit of that energy. Okay, so that's the reason why it becomes very powerful. And so whether it is finding a clock or a missing tool or anything, whenever you have that, or needing an answer, yes, that few moments of stillness will really help. It'll provide you the answer. Thank you so much for sharing that, Renu.
Any other questions or comments?
I have an observation here that I have seen in the yard. If we have plants, there was one plant that was not doing well. And I was watering, and finally I said, well, it's not doing anything at all. And lo and behold, that plant started to die, and I had to take it out after 15 days. It completely went away. So the energy transfer that we talk about, I think that's very powerful.
The next time, Chandraji, I will ask you, if you see a plant a little bit distraught, okay, try to talk to it by saying you're going to do well.
Yeah, I have done that.
And guess what?
And it helps. Yes.
They really do well. And by the way, people have mentioned that this is all a figment of imagination, but now there's evidence-based studies to show that there's a transfer of energy from humans to plants. Plants have responded very well to verbal stimulations. They have done the studies. This is not something from I'm not pulling it from my hat. I have evidence-based studies to show that botanists have seen this. Plants respond extremely well to verbal stimulations from humans. And they have seen the specific plants where the branching of the roots happens much faster whenever they are being given some verbal instruction. Like the person said, we'll make sure you're doing well. We'll make sure we'll water you. You'll be very fine. You'll be very well. It's just like talking to a pet, and the plants have done very well. So yes, Chandraji, next time try talking to the plant and see you live, and I'm sure they'll blossom.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Actually, wasn't it Jagdish Chandra Bose? I think he got the Nobel Prize for
he did
all those experiments.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, meditation is very powerful. No doubts about that.
And there's a Reiki also about energy transfer. I think there's a system called Reiki.
Yes, it is. It's very similar. It's very similar to energy healing. The difference being that in Reiki, it's mostly a contact-based system. So you actually gently, subtly, you touch the person, okay, and then you transfer that energy so that they get healed.
So there is a distance Reiki also.
There is distance Reiki also, absolutely, yeah. But mostly it is contact healing. All right.
So when you do your in the morning and afternoon and evening meditation, do you sit on the ground, Dr. Rao?
I try to sit on the floor, yes, but it's not necessary that you have to sit on the floor. You can sit on your chair, you can sit on a sofa. The only thing is I encourage my students not to sleep, because then the tendency is to fall asleep. So a lot of people love to sleep while meditating. They like to sleep, but I'll say, the problem is then you're doing less of meditation, more of sleep. So I'll encourage them to sit on the chair And the other thing is, I'm glad you brought that question, Jyotsna ji, because there's one thing I forgot to mention. So people always ask me, can we take a nap after lunch because we feel very sleepy? So my suggestion in that case is, instead of taking a full-fledged nap by sleeping on the bed or sleeping on the floor, especially now if you're working from home, my suggestion is keep sitting on your chair, the chair that you use for your office work, and just close your eyes. Even if you fall asleep, you're not going to fall asleep for a long time. It's just going to be like few minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. And that in itself is very powerful, because that in itself is deep meditation. Okay, you've gone into a trance, and that really helps, because then you're able to achieve your work, the afternoon work, much better compared to fighting your sleep. So yeah, so that's a good thing that you can do.
Any other questions or comments before I go to other questions that have come by email?
Just one suggestion from me: if you are diabetic, be careful if you're sleeping after lunch. That means your sugar level is going high.
Right. Yeah. In fact, they say for diabetic people not to even sleep. They'll say take a walk or something. They'll say.
Yeah.
I agree.
Good to know. Yeah. So we'll go into the questions that have come based on the past sessions, and to whoever sent this question, thank you very much, because this is the question that says, and you'll understand why I'm thanking him or her. I enjoyed the last 2 months GLP tools. Did not realize how profound they were. It was an uphill battle, but I kept doing it. Fasting and 3 hours between dinner and sleep really helped with my digestion. Thanks so much to you, Dr. Rao and Mrs. Sitaraman, for doing these sessions selflessly so it benefits mankind. Keep it up, please. Regarding gratitude as a tool, how do we differentiate between true or false gratitude?
Okay, that's a very powerful question.
Yeah.
And, both in Ayurveda and yoga, now let me be very, very honest. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. Whatever knowledge I have is from the neuroscience aspect, because of my long-standing experience in neuroscience, and of course, because of my practice in yoga and Ayurveda. So whatever I say is from those aspects, okay? But, you can always consult with a psychiatrist or a psychologist for this answer. And then, the best way to answer this is, in Ayurveda and yoga, we have a system called gunas. I don't want to talk about it today because it's a very, very deep and very complex topic. Maybe I can pick it up and talk about it as a good living practice. If people are interested, it's a beautiful, beautiful topic. It explains everything about why you are what you are. Okay, so if you ever have that question saying that, why am I like this? Okay, it's all because of this topic called gunas. And we have 3 kind of gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. I don't want to talk about it today because it's very deep. But this gratitude question, the answer to that comes, I can explain that very well from those guna point of view. But just for today, let me explain very briefly, okay? Because we have time to consider as well. So true gratitude comes from within spontaneously. You don't have to wait for it. There is no thinking. It happens at the spur of the moment. Okay, and true gratitude is always accompanied by a smile, by a satisfaction or contentment, and by happiness. Now, true gratitude is not an act. It's very natural. And individuals who express true gratitude do it all the time. It's not for one specific occasion or it's not something that you do it once in a while. No. It comes all the time. It's there it's there as part of their individuality, what we call prakriti. It's part of their prakriti. It comes with it. It's always shows up. And as it shows up, it comes up with happiness, it comes up with satisfaction, it comes with peace. And such individuals who express true gratitude will never ever have negativity, will never ever be dissatisfied. They will never be displeased. And they will never be unhappy. And I can go on and on, but that, my friends, is true gratitude. On the other hand, if you talk about false gratitude is a forced act. there is a term I'm trying to recall in psychology. If I'm not mistaken, they call it forced or a manipulative gratitude. That's right. It's called manipulative gratitude. That means a person has faked it. He or she has manipulated it. It happens. It doesn't happen all the time. Okay, it happens right now at this moment. Notice, and there's a lot, and it comes a lot of thinking. It comes a lot of calculation before that gratitude is expressed. Okay, so false gratitude, by the nature of it, okay, it puts the individual in a precarious state of health issues. Why? Because they are expressing it not because of practice, but because they have to do it. Maybe they are expecting some kind of a reward and award mechanism. Okay, so there's a lot of turbulence going on in the mind. Okay, so which means that when they do it, there's a false happiness, or there's not a genuine nature to it. So they're expressing a false gratitude, and imagine now if there is an intent for that, if there's an intent of award mechanism, and if it doesn't come, then it will be more of a negativity, more of dissatisfaction, okay, more of unhappiness. All right. So in either case, my suggestion is, in either case, do not worry about whether it's a false or a true gratitude. If you are the receiver, okay, just accept it and just let it go. Okay, don't get attached. Don't get attached to it by saying, oh, that was a false or a true gratitude. As a receiver, just accept it and say, okay, I bless you because you have given it me. Let me receive it more positively. Okay, so as a receiver, you can receive it truly. Whether it's a false or a true gratitude from the other end, as a receiver, you can receive it truly. Okay, so that's my short answer. I can talk about it in gunas, but not today. Maybe next time I'll talk about it of the gunas.
Yeah, that is a very, very beautiful conclusion, Ram, because how you take it is up to you. How they give it is something, it's not within your control. So that's a very, very beautiful way to accept, to distinguish or accept gratitude. Yes.
Right.
The other question I had is because today is Mother's Day. Whoever sent the question wanted us to talk a little bit about mother, and as far as to all the mothers in the group, wishing you all a very, very happy Mother's Day. You guys are, mothers are the epitome of selflessness and love, and so that is, it's such a and many times, I can only recall about what my mother used to say when she used to make, and I've shared this before, is whenever she used to make something that we used to like, and we used to wonder how it was so tasty or delicious, and she would say it is because of the special ingredient called love. And so that itself is a kind of a form of meditation in my mind, because she used to focus and make sure that whatever she served us, and she loved to feed, and whatever she served us was full of love, and it showed. It really showed. So I wanted to share that, and if anyone else has anything to share, please do so.
Yeah, in the Vedic texts, we have a 4-liner to define a mother, and since it's Happy Mother's Day and somebody wanted us to talk about it, so it's a 4-liner, very powerful. It says, in the Sanskrit, it says, "Na asti matru sama chaya." That means there is no shade as in giving shade like mother. Na asti matru sama gatihi. There's no resort like a mother. Okay, so whenever you're in trouble, whenever you're in dilemma, whenever you need help, just go to resort, go to your mom. That's what it means. Na asti matru sama gatihi. Na asti matru sama tranam. That means there's no security like mother. Mother provides, she's the embodiment of security, right? She just embrace you, and you feel so much at peace, you feel so stable. And that's the reason, whether it's a culprit, whether it's a criminal, or whether it's a good person, we all end up end up going to a mounds. Why? Because we need that stability, we need that security. And then the last verse is na asti matru samaprapaha. There's no other water fountain like a mother. I mean, that's a beautiful description. Fountain of what? Not just water, fountain of everything.
Mm-hmm.
She's the embodiment of all the giving. So what you said, Radhika, is really true, is truly profound, because if you look back at all the sessions of good living practices, everything that we talked about, we can learn nearly 70 or 80% of it all from our moms, because they are embodiment of all the good living practices.
Correct.
So, yeah, and it's so from, because, and that's the reason why Vedic text, there's a statement that says matruvat para dhareshu. What it means is, and it says all women are mother alike. So now in Vedic text, they've combined the aspect of women itself. All women are mother alike. So yeah, we respect any lady as a mother through our thoughts, words, and actions.
Yes.
Thank you to all the mothers.
Thank you. Yeah. So any other questions, comments, or suggestions before we wrap up today's session? Okay.
And just to let everybody know, next month will be and Radhika mentioned about this briefly. Next month I'll be focusing on the power of breathing or pranayama practice, or what we call diaphragmatic practices. Okay, very powerful once again. And we'll talk about the various aspects of practices and what should be done, what should not be done,
Yes.
indications and contraindications. All that we'll be discussing next month.
Yes.
Thank you.
So before we wrap up, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Ram, for your profound wisdom. Really appreciate this. Before we wrap up, as usual, thank you for your support of Northway Hindu Center. Please keep your questions coming. Please share your experiences. And as we mentioned before, we are working on the aspect of youth, how to benefit the youth. So if you have any questions that you would like us to handle, we are working on that project as well, so that it can be coordinated and conducted by our youth committee with Ram and Ram's help. And so if you have any ideas or subjects or questions that you would like us to specifically handle or address, that would be really good. Please keep them coming. And thank you, Ram. See you all next month, and have a wonderful Mother's Day, all the mothers in the group, and God bless you, and enjoy and practice mindful meditation.
Thank you.
Thank you.